Welcome to week 5 of the Elestriad, where MBT, representing Aeolus and the Wind Pantheon, is throwing down against JadeJonny, representing Zeus and the Thunder Pantheon. These two casters are both 3-1 headed into week 5, and we have some major playoff implications as we head towards the final weeks of the season. As always, let me know who you think is going to win this one with a comment down below, and be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on all of the epic Elestriad content. I also want to take a moment to shout out the website Elestriad.com. Our team has put in a ton of work to upgrade the website over the last couple weeks, and you can check it out now as we have a ton of different statistics and information and just some really cool stuff. So please take a few minutes out of your day and check out the Elestriad website. Again, a lot of effort's going into it, and I want to make sure we're showing it off because it's pretty sweet. Without further ado, let's dive into this clash. It's Pantera versus Thunder Nexus. This game is going to come down to whether or not JadeJonny can keep Pantera at bay, and if he can time those Veritaquas to go against those Tsunamis to make for some devastating gameplay. I think those are the keys to watch. Let's find out how it shakes out. All right, let's dive into this one. JadeJonny getting the start with an Astrabbit. He's going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of his deck and add one to his hand. I would love to get a statistic on how many turn 1 Astrabbits we've seen in the Elestriad. It seems like quite a few, and I know there's been a lot of Thunder Nexus running around. But MBT sticking to Pantera, which I love to see. So this rabbit hit in the field. Both these casters grabbing Earth decks this week. Really looking for those poison-tipped arrows. A key point to the strategy for Johnny as a way to kind of deal with the Pantera. But here we go. P-Gus, baby, right out the gates for MBT. He's going to be able to target one of those face-down runes and pop it. And I can tell you, my favorite deck to play in Elestrals is Wind Control, Wind Nexus Control, which basically uses P-Gus, things like Aeolus, Altar of Stars, you know, different Nexus components. Exaltair is another one, to move the spirits around the field, activate P-Gus a few times, pop those back row, and open up, and just exhaust your opponent of their resources, right? You just really make it so they don't have a lot of things that they can do with the cards that they have, because they lose so much of their back row. Because the back row is so important in Elestrals, especially in just the base set of the game, right? Where we only have one set out. So those back row cards are so crucial. We saw MBT also set 3 back row, and then an Elechick hits the field for JadeJonny. Johnny's now going to be able to search his deck and grab a Divine Rune, which we know is a Zeus, right? He's setting up for future turns. He grabs his full art Zeus. You gotta love the style points there. That full art Zeus he pulled out of his booster box, and now he's actually going to enchant it with 2 spirits, and that's going to allow his Astrabbit to go on a little bit more offensive, right? He's gonna be able to try to get that thing into attack position with 2 face down runes, and Tsunami hits the field. So almost, you know, kind of scripted here. Tsunami seems to come in at these times very, very commonly, and now he's got an opportunity. He could easily pop another spirit on it, and he's gonna do just that. MBT goes for it. He is going to choose, do I pop the Zeus or do I take something else? And when you make a play like this, that tells me that MBT feels confident in his back row right now. He feels that whatever he has back there is gonna be good enough, and he's actually gonna put P-Gus into attack position here, and he's gonna try to make an offensive play into the Elechick, and he's gonna get it. Wow, big plays from MBT, going aggressive here, putting the extra spirit on P-Gus, which puts it at a higher risk of being Shield of Achilles back to his hand or something like that. But in this context, he's able to knock out the Elechick with only 1 defense. But here comes Toxion. Toxion is going to chip MBT down for 1 spirit and provide Johnny with a 4 attacker on the field. Some people are actually calling Toxion the best card in the game right now, which I find to be really interesting. It's a very strong card, just the fact that it's a 4 body. But it looks like Johnny's gonna kind of get the advantage here. Toxion's able to take out the attack position P-Gus, and Astrabbit's able to hit for 1 spirit. So both these casters are starting to get towards the middle of the game here. We've only seen MBT utilize 1 Elestral at this point with 3 back row. This could be his opportunity to make something happen, and he's going to do just that. He's got his Aeolus. He's going to throw 2 on it, and he's just going to use the Aeolus to search for what he wants. I think he's probably going to go Hydrake. I think at this point he has a really easy potential to crash into the Toxion. But I'm going to be real. With Johnny having 3 back row, any one of those could be Gorgon's Gaze. Now he is going to go with the 4. So he's going to take 2. That's going to give him 2 more for future turns. You can actually go up to 5 on Aeolus. He's going to grab P-Gus. He opts to continue to try to deal with that back row. I think MBT has a good idea here, because you know that if you don't deal with that back row, and you are unable to safely get Pantera out, you pretty much lose at that point, right? Like if you misstep on that play and you get Poison Tipped Arrow or Gorgons or whatever it is, then you put yourself in a bad spot. And this is an unfortunate pick here for MBT. MBT targets down the Poison Tipped Arrow. JadeJonny's able to counter with it. We're gonna see an Ambrosia here from MBT. He's gonna be able to get some spirits back, and he's gonna be able to regenerate some of his spirits. But you know, you're kind of guessing which one do I want to use with Pigas. Do I go after, you know, which one of the face down runes? And it looks like he targeted the chained one, the PTA. So it's possible Johnny could have chained any of the options there, but in this case, he's able to kind of get the better side of it, and he will use Poison Tipped Arrow's second effect, which is going to take out the Pigas at the end of the turn, and this puts Johnny in a pretty commanding position. 2 face down runes. He's got 2 Elestrals on the field. He's going to have a third right now, his third Astrabbit, or second Astrabbit rather, and it's going to get him another card from his deck added to his hand. That's only going to strengthen his positioning, as he can now search out another counter rune or something that will, you know, protect his Elestrals on the field and further prevent that Hydrake from doing what it wants to do, right? Now, all in all, Johnny doesn't know that Hydrake is what MBT is trying to accomplish here, but he probably has a good inclination of it. He's utilized it throughout the season, and it seems as though MBT going to take those hits, take those 3 spirits here from Toxion, Astrabbit, and the other Astrabbit. And here comes Hydrake. Stellar Hydrake hits the field. I love it. You love to see the bling. Here it is. This is going to be big. If he's able to effectively get Twindra out, this could be huge, but there's still 2 back row, so nothing guaranteed here. This Hydrake most certainly is going to try to crash into the Toxion, but again, MBT pretty low on spirits. He's going to let it happen. That doesn't mean that MBT is home free, though. Poor Hydrake. Stellar Hydrake only gets a few seconds of screen time, but now Twindra comes out, and this is where Johnny would look to make a play. This is where you would let, you know, the Poison Tipped Arrow hit, or this is where you would Shield of Achilles, because even though it costs you a little bit more, you're basically bouncing back the non-threat, right? Twindra in MBT's hand is not a problem. So it looks like Johnny's going to take the hit, so maybe he doesn't have the back row. Maybe those things are just bluffs. Seems as though he's going to take 1 spirit of damage here from that hit, and Twindra is going to live to see another turn, but will it be enough? JadeJonny, let's listen in.
Fashion Pot of Greed.
I hear it's good.
It's Nectar of the Gods, not Pot of Greed.
I've seen better. Let's go ahead and hit you with the good old-fashioned Earthquake.
The Twindra passive.
No trigger. Gotta love it. Okay, let's go ahead and activate Ambrosia using a Earth Spirits. We'll grab back 2 Earth and a Thunder. Play an Ambrosia using an Earth Spirits.
Jesus.
Grab back an Earth and 2 Thunder. Play everybody's favorite cat.
There he is.
Set a back row. You have 2 cards in hand?
Yep.
We'll just have Astrabbit attack for 1.
Nothing here.
And then Sparky will attack for 1.
Take 2.
I believe I'm at 9. 2.
A huge turn from JadeJonny there, being able to get out 2 Ambrosias, and most importantly, that Earthquake to deal with the Twindra. MBT a little bit on the back foot here. He's got 2 face down runes to deal with. He's going to get his Elechick out to the field. This could be a good opportunity for him to search out some Divine action. Does Johnny respond with this Gorgon's Gaze? No, he's going to Poison Tipped Arrow, actually, and he's thinking about it. He is going to Poison Tipped Arrow. This puts this Elechick in a situation where it can actually crash into Astrabbit, but he's going to Pandora's Box the search. So now he is unable to search out that Divine Rune, which could have been a Zeus or an Aeolus. MBT's got a couple tough things he's got to decide, but he also has to mill the top 2 cards from his deck as per Pandora's Box. So let's see what those are going to be. A Tsunami, which could have been so clutch, and an Elechick again. He's not able to go Zeus, but I'm curious, does he crash into the Astrabbit here? That could be a really good play. He only has 3 spirits left. He does have 2 on board with his Aeolus, so it's not as if he's completely out of it. He has the Ambrosia, so he can heal up a little bit here, kind of get back into this one. Johnny's down to quite a few, not too many spirits left either, so this is an opportunity for MBT to try to climb back into this one. He's going to be down to 2, but he's going to regenerate 3 back up and get him to 5. But again, that Elechick only has 2 attack right now. He's got to be fearful for his hand. It's unclear to me how many cards Johnny has in his hand, but I'm thinking he might have an Earthquake. Here's an Earthquake of his own. MBT dropping an Earthquake in the late game. That's going to get rid of the Spark It, so you don't have to deal with that anymore. And then the Elechick can crash into the Astrabit, which is going to mean that Johnny doesn't have to utilize that extra spirit to get the second effect of Poison Tipped Arrow. MBT with only 3 spirits to go. He does have the freedom of being able to Aeolus to get something. He's got a P-Gust. This is going to blow up the back row. Johnny had no Elestrals to play. The Shield of Achilles is gone. And now MBT gets a free hit into JadeJonny's Spirit deck as Johnny is fishing for Elestrals at this point, and MBT has a free path to another Elestral with his Aeolus. He could search out anything he needs. Johnny is basically screaming to try to get himself another Elestral to get back on this. He basically put all of his cards on the table in those last couple turns. He has enough spirits though. He has the spirit advantage. It's going to be an Astrabit into defense position. That may force MBT to have to get a Sorlet to be able to deal with it. And of course, that gives Johnny the opportunity to grab another rune to set face down to provide that protection. And if you're MBT with only 2 spirits left, you've got some very tough decisions to make. He's going to re-enchant the P-Gust and blow up a Nectar of the Gods. Pretty useless of a card for Johnny at this stage of the clash. He simply used it as a bait. MBT is going to use his Ambrosia here at the end, going down to 0 spirits, but he's going to be able to get 3 back. Maybe he's using the Aeolus, so he's back to 3. And now he's going to be able to search and grab a Sorlet for the next turn. And then he's going to set something face down. This is going to come down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny picks up a card. He's going to set one face down. He's going to re-enchant his Astrabit. I do think that's a smart play, especially considering what you might have on the face down. He's going to be able to look at the top 3 and add another card to his hand. This Astrabit proving to be incredibly clutch here in the late game. It's actually a massive difference maker because it's giving Johnny the support he needs with only 3 spirits to go. Both these casters tied at 3 spirits. MBT is a clear play here. It's Sorlet, expend, change the position of Astrabit, and try to hit over it. But if Johnny has any sort of counterplay, this is huge. Here's the Gorgon's Gaze. The expend is already used. Johnny's going to pull off the Astrabit. It's a safe bet. And now Sorlet's spirit is wasted. And Johnny's able to hang in there for another turn as Astrabit unaffected by this. Pika's going to go to defense position. A smart play from MBT. And now let's see what we got here. He's got another spirit. Johnny going to re-enchant his Astrabit. But again, MBT cannot continue to use this effect of Sorlet, because if Johnny's able to get a Toxeon at any point in time, it could foil all of MBT's plans. So these two, we're going to speed up this part of the game as they continue to draw and set and draw and set and look for the tools that they need to find how they can get back into this. No actions are being taken. No spirits are being spent. And now we are going into a turn here. It seems as though MBT draws another one. They're not playing it. It seems as though MBT, we're in a stalemate here. Neither caster wants to play an Elestral. Neither caster wants to make any sort of moves forward. And they're continuing to just speed through game as no one wants to make any sort of moves here. And I kind of understand why, right? Like, you've got 2 Toxeon on Johnny's end. We've already seen one of them, so he's probably fishing for another one here. And that could give him the game. But if you play Toxeon and then Sorlet destroys it, MBT knows he needs every spirit he has at this point. Johnny gets an Ambrosia, though. That is very, very big. That is very, very big, because now it gives him the freedom to be able to utilize some of those runes he may have. And here comes the Toxeon. There it is. Toxeon hits the field. It's not over yet. There's a Gorgon's Gaze. He's going to pull it off the P-Gust and get rid of his P-Gust and get the Gorgon's Gaze to stop the Toxeon's effect and prevent it from attacking, maybe thinking he's losing his P-Gust anyway. Let's listen in for the final moments.
Have it. Enchant Zeus.
Yep.
Disenchant Zeus.
Yep.
Set. 1, 2, like it matters. Astrabit to attack. And Rabbit swing for 1.
Ah, what do you know? It's Tsunami.
Yep. Alright, here we go.
Is there a card that puts cards back in deck? I feel like no.
I'm going to sleep.
Not in response to the draw for turn. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Draw, lose.
I think that was the only out, right? Was last card Ambrosia?
Yeah, like literally your
What an absolute insane ending to this one. JadeJonny actually decks out at the end with no cards left to draw, and MBT is going to take this one and move to 4-1 in the Elestriad. So obviously we sped through that. They ended up going through their entire deck. What happened there at the end is that Toxion got Gorgon's Gaze, so it was no longer a threat to attack. The Astrabit went to go attack and crashed in the Sorlet. MBT did have a Tsunami face down. At that point in time, all he needed to do was just make sure that he could stay alive, because when Johnny had to go for his next turn, he had no cards left to draw, and thus MBT wins by deck out. A crazy ending to this one. Not what I expected to see. MBT advances to 4-1. I hope you guys enjoyed this doozy of a clash. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below what your favorite moment was, and we'll see you for the next one of the Elestriad.